I'm starting my stream a minute early today. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, thanks, Tanya. Hello, everyone. I'm just getting started here. Oh, I forgot to set up a countdown timer on Twitch. How do people do that? Setting up countdown timers. Ooh. Is this, ooh. Look at that styling. Ooh. So that's cool. I like this. This is a nice, ooh. It's a nice little tool. Look at this. The copy widget URL. I love it. Thanks, Countdown. TwitchCountdown.com. Look at that. Configure my OBS. People use. Oh, hi. I have a chat. Hi, SheepyABC. I'm good. I'm need to adjust my camera. Getting started slow today. I'm excited though. I'm working on a TypeScript pull request. I haven't done as many of those this year as I wanted, and I'm working on some typescript-eslint PRs that I'm excited about reviewing the PRs for. And now you get to see me set up my OBS stuff. How are you doing? What are you up to what is today? Thursday. Let's see. So it's a new stream. Let me. Whoop. Ah. There we go. Let's see. Add a browser. Create new countdown. Twitch. Countdown. Cool. So that's unfortunate. Let's give this different dates. You just created your first Twitter account. Awesome. What's the account you want to post in the chat? Look at this. Look at this fancy thing. I love it. I love it so much. Let's give it an actual. There we go. ABC. I don't understand why people read my blog post drafts, but I'm very appreciative of people like you who do. So thank you. Or rather, I should say, I don't understand why people read that specific information, but I'm very appreciative. Thank you. Pardon me as I fiddle around with my OBS overlay. There we go. Cool. Oh no. Twitter doesn't know you. There you go. Follow. Oh, you already have a follower other than me. Wait. Who is it? Oh, okay. Well, I'm honored to be your first or second follow, depending on. Oh, thank you, Stephen Adams, and welcome to the chat. How's it going? Yeah, it's honestly, I feel like. Oh, what? Twitter being buggy after the Elon takeover? Yeah. By the way, I need to share this tool. This is a nice tool. Is there like a, I don't know, a GitHub source for this? News. It hasn't been updated since 2020. Alright, well. I might end up just making my own counter eventually if I want like fancy features, but I can't think of anything I'd want. Yet, I don't know, Twitter feels annoying to me in that I wish it would just either get fixed, like all the little things, like notifications, if you get a new one, you have to like refresh once or 3 times to get it. Either just fix those things or die already, you know? Like, I hate Elon the way the rest of the tech world should and does, and I want proof. But Yeah. Cool. All right, let's see this countdown in. Oh, there it is. It is there. You can just it's. Let's remove that body. There we go. Remove. Cool. OBS is cool, by the way. I really have come to enjoy it. Once you learn it, which takes a little while. Honestly, wounded animal is a good analogy for Twitter. I like this. It's bleeding, man. Just put out of its misery. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk code things because I'm real juiced about it. So we've been. Oh, actually, yeah. Before we do that, Mastodon. Honestly, I haven't set up any tools to like cross post to both platforms. Question mark yet? Question mark. But it works pretty well. My only complaint is that DMs are all weird. I won't show you mine now for obvious reasons, but like, my understanding might be out of date, but it is that there's no such thing as a DM. They're just toots, aka tweets, that are limited in who can see them, and it's limited only to the people mentioned. So you can't configure like this tweet that mentions X people is only visible by that one person. It's just whoever's in it sees it, which gets a little confusing. Yeah, kind of public. Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, the performance is actually way better than Twitter because I think because they do have a lot fewer users, and also like they don't do fancy algorithm stuff. It's just the most recent things. And it is cool to see like local, like just your server versus federated versus, explore. That's cool. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Time to use my stream commands. So for those just tuning in, hi, I'm Josh. I am, excuse me, I'm a little gassy today, like a 4-month-old. I'm an open source developer, maintainer, very good professional, etc., etc. I work on tooling in the TypeScript ecosystem, most notably typescript-eslint, the tooling that lets you run Prettier and ESLint on TypeScript code. So this is important stuff, good stuff. I didn't make this tool, but I certainly love maintaining it now. One of the maintainers. Always happy to chat, whether it's about Fostodon, Mastodon, Twitter, or Tech World, or specifically TypeScript, my favorite thing. Today I'm going to be doing at least, I hope, a couple of things. One is I'm going to be reviewing this pull request, and then the other is I actually have my own pull request against TypeScript, one of my favorite things also, that I need to get out of draft and into working form. So, Bang AST. If you're not familiar with ASTs, if that phrase has already confused and horrified you, that's okay. Charging my phone. I got a blog post on the TypeScript ESLint blog that can probably help. But the TLDR is an AST, or abstract syntax tree, is an abstract representation of your code. It's a way of describing what's in your file. For example, given this little single line 1 + 2, that's an expression statement. That's the term for something like this, which contains a binary expression, 1 + 2. You got your literal 1 here, the operator plus, and the literal 2 there. So I realize this stream might not be the best for folks who are not familiar with this stuff, and that's okay. I won't be offended at all if you're asking real basic questions or just leave. Parasocial Fix, hello, good to see you again. What is so abstract about it? Great question. There's a difference from reality, but in theory, an AST is abstract in that it does not care about formatting. In theory, this AST representation does not store node positions or whether there's white space, like spaces versus tabs or new lines or whatever. It's abstract in that you can take your code, shove it into an AST, and then print it back out in whatever formatting you want, which, fun fact, is actually how Prettier works. Prettier reads in your code, completely ignoring most of your formatting decisions, and then prints it back out with your Prettier config. In practice, a lot of ASTs actually do store a lot of information around location. Pardon me. So like if we shove into the TypeScript ESLint playground the 1 + 2, and then enable the AST viewer to ES-tree, and I can actually share the link in the chat. Boop. They do store like the range and the location. Why they store both, I don't know. These have like subtly different information. So it's, in practice, implementations of ASTs tend to be not super abstract, but in theory, it's different from like, I don't know, like concrete syntax tree. I forget what's the term for this? But great question. Thank you for asking. Yeah, concrete syntax tree. Cool. What I'm giving is like the high level overview, the like, I don't really understand all the nuances explanation. I, as in Josh, I do not understand all the nuances. But that SO post, I recognize it from long ago. It's a good one. Cool. Yay, ASTs. So this PR here, did I even post it in the chat? This PR here, I was going to post on Twitter. I post everything on Twitter. First up, reviewing PR to typescript-eslint that adds a new, post in the chat, rule for detecting duplicate type constituents. It's tricky because for perf reasons, it needs to first compare the ASTs for equality and also then fall back to type checking. And before I explain that, let's see if I should be giving this person, yes I should, a shout out. Oh, and a follow. Can't believe I wasn't already following this person. Excellent. So this PR is really interesting to me. And they don't have an immediate link to their Mastodon, so I'll just post on my thread here. Excellent. Cool. So no duplicate type constituents. This rule says that if you have a type union or intersection in TypeScript, you shouldn't be allowed to give them basically two identical constituents or elements in the type. For example, let's look at this. Type A equals a string B number. Type B equals the same thing, a string B number. You should get a complaint. A and B are the same type, so there's no need to do this. That's really nice, actually. I'm surprised we didn't already have this. So let me just pop open the playground. On every pull request, we get a preview deployment with a nice little try this rule in the playground link. So type test equals string or string. Here we go. Union type constituents string, grammar. Union type constituent string is duplicated with string. So if we fix it, look at that, removed. Nifty. Zoom in a little bit. There's a bug in the undo state, whatever. Cool. The tricky thing though is that you might have types like type A equals value string, type B equals value string. Like types that have different AST nodes, but actually those end up being the same thing. So like you might do like type actually string equals string. So it's actually kind of complex to figure out like, are things actually the same? In this case, yes, test2 should detect that they are the same. Oh, except it doesn't. Because they are actually technically different because they're different objects. So let's call it this. Oh my God. Come on. There we go. Okay. Is typescript-eslint a collection of TS-specific rules for ESLint? Good question. It is that and more. Sparkle emojis. TypeScript-eslint is, let's say two things. It is, let's say three things. Haha. It is a parser, which allows ESLint to understand TypeScript code, which is important because TypeScript code introduces a lot of new syntax constructs, like, for example, this type thing that ESLint wouldn't normally understand. It's not normal JavaScript. So TypeScript ESLint 1 is a parser that you can use in your ESLint config to tell ESLint how to parse TypeScript code. 2, it's a set of tooling that allows rules to use TypeScript's type information. So if you were to look at your ESLint config in a project, let me open my template TypeScript node package. If you were to configure your ESLint config in a project, you would do something like parser options project. So actually, here's the parser saying use TypeScript ESLint's parser to parse code for TypeScript files. And then also here's parse option to project, use your tsconfig, and our tooling will then figure out TypeScript settings, spit up TypeScript API shenanigans, and let you use fancy TypeScript type information in your ESLint rules. So that's part 2. And then part 3 is, yes, we provide a bunch of ESLint rules, many of which use that type information to be really smart about your code and detect badness, such as in this new rule, duplicate type constituents. Good question. We do kind of bury the lead a little bit with our homepage, but eventually we'll get like a real designer or user experience person or whomsoever to redesign it. Shout out to our contributors. Sponsor us, please, because this is how I make money. I don't have a real job. Cool. Ooh, getting weird little network notifications on Twitch. That's not good. Shout out also to drinking water. Very important. All right. Also, has anyone in the chat contributed to us or ESLint or TypeScript? Would love to know. Or even just filed an issue. I count that as contributing. All right. So yeah, there are a couple of tricky things with this rule. One is that TypeScript actually represents different object literals as different types in the type system. So if we go to the where did the playground go? Playground. Do we have an AST? We don't have the types viewer. So we actually have a preview up in a pull request from the maintainer friend who just keeps augmenting the playground with awesome stuff. I love this freaking person, Armano2, so much. So there's a new version of the playground that's coming up soon that has a lot more information. Let's say like type A equals string, value string, type B equals value string. So TypeScript's types represent these as two separate discrete objects. It doesn't deduplicate, figure out, hey, there's a type that is the same as this other thing. So here we have ID 87 for this thing's type. I zoom in a little bit. And here we have ID 86. So somehow this type is given 86. This type is given 87. So we don't have a way to compare that these two types are the same, short of like basically re-implementing TypeScript's type checking internally. So for now, the stuff mentioned in the OP of this PR is actually wrong. It would not detect this case. But it would detect the case of like string or string, even if it's like string aliased by something else. Ooh, chat. The joke about AST is that it only makes sense in compiled languages where only ASTs make a difference for compiled output. Formatters and transformers usually don't use ASTs, but still call it that. Interesting. What do formatters and transformers call it? Because Babel, the very common JavaScript transpiler, thought it calls it AST. Stephen Adams, I would love to have you contribute to TypeScript ESLint soon, ever, please. That would be awesome. Fun fact for everyone, we actually just opened up our Discord to the public. It's in our footer. So if y'all want to join, feel free to chat with us there. Ask help questions. Ooh, I'm going to make sure that I don't have the private stuff open. I'm going to share. I'm in streamer mode. So we got our first help question. Yay. And I'm also going to actually make a channel for developers. Or development. Because we're all devs if we're using TypeScript ESLint. Really tempted to call it development. So let's edit it. Chatting about working with TypeScript ESLint, especially contributing to the project. Hooray! I relate most strongly in BoJack Horseman to the character Todd. Shout out that show. It depresses me, but I love it so much. Okay, cool. Development. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Cool. And let's see. And I'm going to post this on the Twitter. We just made a development channel in the newly opened TS-eslint typescript-eslint Discord. Join us and chat about working with our stuff. Yay! Cool. My cat's walking on the keyboard. Freaking guy. Get out of here, Jerry. He's a very chill cat. He's still in the room. He doesn't want to leave. This is fine. All right. So yeah, that's one complication of the rule, that two seemingly identical objects are not considered the same by TypeScript, and they don't expose any APIs that would let us check whether they're assignable to each other. A second complication is that we don't want to use the type checker if we don't need. If we see that the two AST nodes are basically the same, if ignoring location data, they are literally the same nodes, like two, what AST would this be? Is this string, TS string keyword? Then there's no need to use the type checker. We can just use that instead. First, so the way this rules logic works is first it checks if the AST nodes are the same, and then if they're not the same, it will fall back to comparing whether they are the same using the type checker. So that's fun. So let's look at the code. And I'm gonna quickly open them side by side, close out some extra tabs. All right. Kicking the cat out. All right. So first off, they got a docs page. Disallow duplicate constituents of union or intersection types. Great description. Allow TypeScript towards types, constituents in union intersection being duplicates of each other. Developers typically expect each constituent to be unique within the same intersection or union. Proofreading. One thing that I actually learned from writing my own book, fun fact, I wrote a book on TypeScript, shameless self-promotions, is that it's good to simplify whenever possible. So I'm going to suggest it's good to simplify whenever possible. Little proofreading tip I picked up. I'm going to suggest splitting this to two sentences. That makes each sentence more readable and on its own, which is especially important for rules that use new terminology and concepts that might be unfamiliar to many readers. I love ASTs and all this stuff, but I know a lot of people don't understand much of it. So let's split it into two sentences. Types supports types within, and let's duplicate types within, types within union types. Yeah, it's fine. In each other. However, developers typically expect each considered to be within its intersection of union. Beautiful. This rule disallows duplicate union intersection considered types to be duplicate if they value to the same result in the type system. Jatanium, Dan, welcome. Thank you for subscribing. Tier 1, is that a good tier? Dan, we were talking about you last night. Dan, if you want to promote yourself in the chat, please do. Dan works a lot with Solid.js, which is similar to React, but newer and how do I? Curious how you'd phrase this as someone who knows better than me, but it doesn't require depths because it's made so that each component runs once for your hooks. Newer and shinier, good. And I was working with Corbin Crutchley on a lint rule that is only necessary in React, not Solid because of the way they're structured. Anyway, good to see you here. How's it going? For example, type A equals string and type T equals string or A. This rule would flag string or A. This is a little unclear. Let's say that A is the same type as string. Make it a little more clear. Making this a bit more clear. You streamed for 7 hours last night. Why did you do that to yourself? I can barely survive an hour and a half. All right, and now I'm just flabbergasted at your endurance as a human. Congratulations. Let's just make sure that all these examples they give are actually the same. Or actually would cause complaints. Okay, let me move my socials to this side. Is this the right playground? Yeah, no duplicate type constructions error. We want to look at the complaints. Nice, these do all complain. You realize you're a more productive programmer in streaming. Fascinating. I find myself better able to stick to the task rather than, like bouncing around Twitter or Reddit, whatever. But I also tend to go slower because I'm explaining things, which is probably good that I'm doing that for the world. So that's me, but why are you more productive when streaming? That's fascinating. Awesome. Cool, so this looks good. Slower but steadier. I think there was a parable or fable about that. Winning the race. Ignore intersections. When set to true, duplicate checks and intersection type stored. Yeah, that's good. Awesome, so the docs look good. Let's look at the rule itself. Oh boy. There's a lot of code here. Okay, so first off, I noticed something in the rule metadata. I'm gonna have to zoom out. There's messages. There we go. This is a typo. Type constituent. So type, which is going to be, I'm guessing, either union or intersection. Type constituent, whatever, is duplicated with whatever. So this, I had the GitHub VS Code extension lets you comment in these, so I don't have to switch back and forth between the PR view. But I found it as I don't know, like it kept getting in the way of things, the extension, so I stopped using it. It's really hard to write English words while explaining it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, docs are like a completely different beast. All right, so proofreading. Elian, hello. Thank you for joining. I see you just followed me, so I'm inferring you're here. Welcome. Thanks for coming on. Just by the way, I see a few people just joined, so I'll repost the PR link in the chat. Yo. I'm just reviewing this PR, and for you and everyone, well, I know you know ASD things, but for those who've just joined who might not, got a good blog post for you there. I'm so proud of myself, by the way. I'm like using stream elements and like a real streamer these days. All right, so let's look at the actual code. So the way the ESLint rule works, I'm gonna fold all and then unfold as we look at them. Is you create the rule with a name and some metadata, like the documentation stuff, and then the messages it might complain with. Yeah, thank you for the sub gift. That was really nice of you, Dan. You can also describe a schema for the rule. Here we're saying that the rule takes in a single object. Ooh. And it has two properties, ignore intersections and ignore unions. Which, fun fact, is how this schema is how we auto-generate docs pages to generate that intersection. It's part of that interface. And in fact, we have a standard practice of saying additional properties false in our object. So I'm just going to request that. This is, I forget what the package name is. JSON schema. Yeah, type/JSON schema. It's this like standard way of describing JSON in your code. And line 84, where is it? Type object. So let's just say knit. I don't know what category of comment this is, so it's knit. Good to restrict the objects so people don't pass in different properties, e.g. typos, misspellings, which I misspelled, sweet irony, and get confused why they do nothing. JSON schema 4. What a miserable naming scheme. Agreed. Are we on is JSON schema 3 in the types at all? Schema dot star 3. Is there a 3? Well, I guess schema 3 isn't in existence. Yeah. LOL. Not what we put in the world. Also, we don't normally do this in our objects, but I'm nitpicky. I'm gonna sort. LOL. All right. So that's the metadata for the rule. I'm guessing there was some decision making there, and I don't know that decision making. Anyway, the core of the rule is, as with any ESLint rule, this create function, which takes in your context, the like ESLint APIs, like report an error, and then your options, and it returns an object. This object includes any number of ES_query queries, which are it's like CSS selectors. It's how to select nodes in your file, and then logic to one whenever you get an instance of that node. So like just showing the AST here as an example. If I query to just TS intersection type, I get exactly one intersection type, which is, can I expando this? Can I drag? Nope. Okay. Which is this friend. Come on. There we go. Okay. This friend. Or if I search for TS string keyword, I get these things. Yay. I can like query for all the literals in the code. String A, number 1, and so on. Cool. So whenever we get a node that is an intersection type or a union type, we then run this logic. Ooh, question. How does typescript-eslint keep up with new features and changes in TypeScript? Does the TypeScript team keep you up to date with new language features that are about to land? We are on good terms with the TypeScript team. We've actually been working with one or two of them recently on some upcoming performance improvements we're hoping to make. I actually think I'm pairing with I'm pairing with Brad Zacher, one of the other TypeScript-eslint maintainers, tonight on trying to re-architecture stuff to be much better. But we just go through the same channels, get the same information as everyone else for issues, because they do a really good job of explaining what they're doing for issues. Doing for upcoming versions. So like here's an example, their iteration plan for 5.1. They have a calendar posted, like a little chart, nice little info. Ooh, look at them using the fancy features of GitHub. And then they mention all the stuff that's going to change. And then we also have our own docs. We have public maintenance docs, which I think is a cool thing. And yeah, sorry that well, the nice thing about this stream is that it floats the terms that you will eventually learn to love in the air. It gets them in your mind. But yeah, my book covers a lot on TypeScript, but it doesn't cover much on ASTs. So if you are curious, that blog post that I posted in the chat on our blog is quite useful. But happy just to have you hang out and chat. Yeah, so we have a practice of when a TypeScript version bump is impending, we like make an issue and start working on changes on it, and then we try to release it, like support for it just before they release it. But you know, it's hard. Sometimes things take a little while. Actually, the most recent TypeScript version of 5.0, we dropped support for it like right before they got out of beta and went into stable, and I was really proud of that. It was good. And shout out, if you look at the TypeScript 5.0 support issue, come on. Here we go. This person. Pardon me if I'm butchering the name, but Sasuke Suzuki, they've been contributing to us more and more over the last year or two, and they keep sending PRs that help us support new TypeScript versions. So very pleased with them. We gave them $500 from our maintainer funding pool. Thoughts on Civet? Kivit? What the heck? That's a really cute animal. I'm guessing that's not a programming language that compiles to TS or J. Ooh, look at this. How do you pronounce this? This is... Oh my god. Look at that. Okay. They're really okay. Let's look at the cheat sheet. Oh, this is... I remember this syntax when I took a class in college on programming languages. Funny enough, didn't understand a lot of the stuff that I now use day to day in college when I took the class. It all went over my head. But I remember the syntax from the functional programming language people. They like that stuff. I don't know. This looks nice. I think long term it's probably not going to go very far. That's just my guess. Because you need... The problem with making a new language these days is that people expect a lot of really good tooling, like linting and formatting. So if they can get the equivalent of Prettier and ESLint and typescript-eslint all working, and have the time budget to keep iterating on them as ESLint, TypeScript-eslint, Prettier, keep innovating, great. But I don't know. In theory, this is wonderful. In practice, I worry that this might be just a toy. I don't want to say toy project because it's a real thing, but cool. Oh, look at this. Awesome. Yeah. Do they have a linter though? Lint? Oh, linter. Testing C8 and Mocha. Oh, it's a thing on the page. Cool. Yeah, I'd have to look at this more deeply. If they have really good tooling, then great, good for them. I don't know, I'm just very hesitant to be gung-ho about tools because I've been burned so many times before. But the nature of our area of the industry is that people innovate, things live and die. Sometimes they become super successful. Sometimes their ideas live on and that's it. I can't justify using something like this because it introduces an unnecessary barrier to code base. Yeah, that is a huge drawback of using anything other than TypeScript or JavaScript, I guess. Barrier to the code base. Suppose you're on a team at a company that adopts this really nice looking language, legitimately good looking language, and you then onboard a junior developer, someone who just graduated from a boot camp or is self-taught or has a CS degree, and that's it. That's so hard. They're onboarding onto a new team and learning a new language. Those are both big tasks. But cool. Thanks for showing me this. I appreciate it. It's cool stuff. I love the idea of simplifying syntax just to see. Oh, interesting. Is there a MIT type dependence? Do they have to know that the dots on something, if it's an array, causes it to emit .at instead of a number? Really interesting. Or maybe it's... Yeah. I'm curious. Something... Hi. Something .-1. Ah. So that's nice. Cool. All right, cool. Anyway, back to the PR. I need to actually do this. Cool. 40 minutes in. Let's start looking at the code. All right. So what are they doing? They're creating a cache type map, which is a map from each TSES tree type node to its type. So they're caching the lookups in the type system, and then they're using a reduce. Shah, hello. Welcome back. How's it going? It's been a while. I'm looking in the chat history. You were here in like October. Cool. Oops, I accidentally pinned it. Fuck. Dang it. I didn't mean to pin a message. Jeez. What did I even pin? There we go. Does this say you're new? I see you as repeat. Anyway, so we're looking at this PR. So there, for each type in a node, so that's the, there we go. That's the array of type constituents. For example, here, this type alias has, this type TS union type has an array of types, which is these three elements, A, and B. Oh boy. All right. All right. So we're reducing on the types. And so we have unique constituents. By the way, I'm not a fan of abbreviating. I'm not a fan of abbreviating names in code. It makes it harder to understand because you have to memorize the all sorts of common abbreviations, which can be different across people code bases. I recently started exploring backgrounds, so I was wondering if you could tell me when we use HTTP only cookie versus JWT. I have no idea. I barely know that JWT or JOT is a JSON web token, or that's the term. It's been a long time since I've used one. Good luck with that, though. If anyone in the chat knows this answer or has good resources, please do post. That would be great. No clue. All right. So then we're checking. We look to see if there is a duplicated previous constituent in a... Oh my God. All right. So for each constituent node, we're checking, is there a previous duplicate? Using this is same AST node function, I can infer that checks if the AST node's the same. So if there is a previous duplicate, we report on them, and then we return unique constituents. Okay. Cool. I might not want the comments in the code eventually if there's a previously found constituent, the same AST. All right. You go back to front end. Yeah, that's what I end up doing. All right. So then here we know, okay, there's no previous duplicate. So we get the type at the location of this constituent node type, and then we check if there's a previous duplicate constituent type, which is if there is a cache type map entry with it. Okay. Yeah. This is a fun little... The syntax is funny because we're switching between like map entries, which is not an array, it's an iterable iterator. And then if we do have a previous type that's the same, just referentially equal, we complain. And then we, in the cache type map, set the... Okay, so get the type of the node, check if that type matches any previous type. If a previous type was matched, then we complain, report. Otherwise update the unique type constituents and the type cache. This is actually pretty understandable to me. So given any constituent node, we check if there's a previously found constituent with the same AST structure, the same AST node. If not, we get the type of the node, check to see if it matches any previous type, and then if previous type was matched, then we complain. So we're checking the cache type map entries here. We're iterating through all the entries. Oh, a Ben. But why don't we switch the cache type map order to type, type node so that the key is types. So then we can do cache type map dot get constituent node type. And then we flip the ordering. So then if there was a duplicate, then so the duplicate previous is a type node. Cool. I like this actually. And let me just make sure that the testing is still good. So package-eslint plugin, and then yarn jest node duplicate type constituents -watch to run the test in watch mode. And does this still work? Awesome. Performance. All right, so this whole fun little thing where we iterate through can be simplified. One last optimization that I can spot. This code searches through all previous through potentially all previously. By the way, is this making sense to anyone, or is this just complete gobbledygook? I can never tell if what I'm saying is reasonable. By the way, shout out to drinking water. My throat's getting sore. All previously found types. The entries in the map. But since they're being checked for triple equality, preferential equality, we could instead switch the order of the map to have the types as keys. And we can do a single O of 1 lookup. And then the suggestion here is from my code. Boop. Ooh, and I clicked the suggestion button twice, I guess. Oh, look at that, simpler. And then we'd also want to say yes. Boop. Love it. Performance. All right, let's look at the ancillary functions. What have I skipped over? The options type is an array, blah, blah, blah. Some imports. Okay, is same AST node. If the nodes are referentially equal, return true. If they both exist and they are both objects, oh boy. If they are arrays, check if the length is the same, or if there's anything different. Cool, yep, looks good. So if they're not arrays, we look at the node keys. Interesting. There's got to be a... this is some O of N stuff here. We look at the object keys at the actual node and filter to check whether AST ignore keys includes... Okay, so AST ignore keys is an array of 3 things. In theory, maybe we should use a set for .has. In practice, I don't think it really matters. I'll just post it here. Comment. Non-actionable comments. In theory, we could make AST ignore keys a set to use an O of 1 .has instead of the O of n equals 3 dot includes. In practice, I think an array of size 3 is not so terrible for performance. So I think this is fine. Just posting here for reference. Sometimes you just want to say something to peer like, oh, I guess you could have done it differently, but it doesn't really matter. All right. Check if, all right, so if the keys have the same length, oh boy. And if the keys have the same length, and if there's any key that exists in one but not the other, return false. Otherwise, we compare the things recursively. Cool. Yeah, that looks good to me. And then there was another function that I hid, report duplicate. Here we go, towards the end. Oh boy. Oh boy. So we get the context source code. We get any tokens. Do you still work at the login or auth related company? The two previous companies I worked for are most recently Codecademy, prior to that Microsoft. I guess I also interned at a neuroscience lab up in Albany called Schalk Lab in college. At Codecademy, the closest I worked with login auth stuff was, well, a few small things. I implemented referrals, like, refer a friend, get whatever percent or some such off. I implemented the email verification system, like the early version of it, the first one. Well, first within the last 5 years. It might have been 1 year ago we forgot about. And then I did random experiments on the growth team for like the checkout page and such. And the login page. Okay, so get the tokens before, get the tokens between, get the token. Okay, we're doing a bunch with tokens, so we don't really need to focus on this. The TLDR is getting the squigglies in the right place. And then we context.report. We complain about the duplicated text. And then the previous. So in the complaints for this rule, let me just get one showing. Here we go. Union type constituent string A is duplicated with string B. We don't really need to print string B in this error, in this complaint, because it's already visible from the squiggly. So I'm going to suggest in the PR, just say the previous one. Don't say both of them. No real need. Proofreading. Constituents is a typo. Also, since we're already underlining the second constituent, there's no need to print its name in the complaints message. In the message. Cool. And actually is duplicated with, yeah, that's fine. All right. And then the range I don't really like. There's no need to squiggly the pipe or. So in the fixer, we'll want to remove the pipe, but in the error, we should just squiggle this thing. It's confusing to see the or there. So for the range, report location, we don't need to do before union intersection token.lock.start. We can just say duplicate constituents dot duplicated dot lock dot start. And that'll, ooh, I changed something kind of important and it didn't fail in a unit test. So we'll have to take a look at those tests. So let's complain on the PR. Where's that report location? What did I say? There we go. It's enhancements, let's say. What test runner do I use? Ooh. I don't have a strong preference here. In typescript-eslint, we collectively use Jest. We just have it for a while. It works. In my... Ooh, let me post this, actually. Template TypeScript node package. Boop. I use vtest. In part because I just want to try it out. And also because it's like really fast and nice. Personally, I don't love the way that both Jest and vtest do mocks. They're not very type safe. Like, you can just not mock a package and then YOLO the implementation that you're mocking with. And I haven't had the time to make something better, to even think of like what would be better. I don't really know. But yeah, honestly, Jest and vtest are great. I've seen a lot of people use Ava, which looks really nice. I haven't tried it out much myself. I actually have a package, console fail test. I want to add vtest support too. It's a little older of a package. That works on Ava, Mocha, Jasmine, Jest, Lab, and Node Tap. So, I need to update this table, actually. I need to add, like Cypress and Playwright here, and also I filed an issue for vtest, need to add, yeah. So, I don't know. Steven and others, what test runner do you use? What are your testing opinions? While you furiously type away your test hot takes, enhancements, there's no need. It looks odd. I'll call this a bug. It looks odd to also squiggly the type, the piper, and let's just squiggly the node itself. The fixer can. It's okay for fixers to touch code outside the specific report range. Outside the report range. All right. Let's look at the... Oh, geez, Louise. Yeah, you know what? Try vtest. It's great. It's very similar to Jest, just a little simpler. The one major downside, I actually tweeted about this recently, is that the... Oh, God, notifications. Is that the... community hasn't built up as many like nice dev things with it. There is an ESLint plugin vtest. I do use it in the template, but there's like Just Extended and ESLint plugin Just Extended, and like that stuff doesn't really exist for vtest yet. So hey, if you love vtest and you have spare time, maybe you can effect change and invite those things. And also, shout out to ESLint plugin vtest. Great little package here. There are a lot of Just plugin or ESLint plugin Jest rules that aren't implemented yet. Bun test. I honestly haven't touched bun at all, but it looks nice. I believe it. vtest is pretty fast too. Honestly, if we go to the template package again, and then you do like npm test, get that nice watch mode going. Like, is it testing lib? Someone file an issue. Greet that test ts, and you like, let's just like throw an error, or just throw 3 low. Then you see, this is another downside of vtest. Like, things aren't quite as I don't know, polished. So I need to, what are my to-dos? Like add vtest code to table in console fail test. File bug on vtest. If you throw non-error, it crashes. So fun fact, you can throw things that aren't new error. Hi. I mean, look at how fast those reruns are. Ridiculous. Cool. All right, let's look at the test. No duplicate type constituents test TS. And they're auto-generating tests. This is a practice that I have decided I am starting to not like, where people create functions or like template strings or whatnot, and then like auto-generate code and tests. I really, it makes it hard to read the tests. It makes it hard to perform static analysis on the tests, like making sure code is formatted. And I'm just not into it anymore. I don't know. Things you learn. You know, clean up. You know, I've really started to sour on generating tests. It's harder to read and harder to perform static analysis on the strings. 10 times the speed. I take anything the Bun team, any team posts about performance with a grain of salt. First of all, I'm sure these numbers are accurate in some way. Second of all, look at the difference. Like, until you have thousands and thousands of test files, each of which have many, many tests like these, the difference is pretty negligible. But it is nice. Like, I'm not trying to downplay the accomplishment. Like, Bun being incredibly fast is awesome, and I'm really impressed. I see it, I believe it, but like, there's always more truth, you know? But yeah, really cool. I also really love that Jared is super open about like, oh, this is what we're working on. Here's the progress. Here's what we need to fix up. Like, that's really nice. Yeah. As seen in stores. Cool. Let's just write out the tests explicitly. One nice thing about this rule is that the logic is the same for intersections and unions. So I don't think you need to duplicate test cases for each of them. Just write a few to make sure that both are counted for, then any edge cases in type constituent checking logic can be just done once. Check. Edge case test for constituent checking logic can be just written once. And wanting to generate tests for combinations of edge cases is a smell to me in that way. Cool. This is looking really great. Oh yeah, wait, I actually have to look at the tests. Oh my god. All right, 1 and 2, 1 and 1. Yeah, 1 and 2, 1 and 1, true, false, blah, blah, blah. All right. Yeah, these all look like good valid cases. They're checking object literals, properties of objects, generics, arrays, things across different values. Cool. Are we checking? Yeah, we are checking literals. Okay. Let's look at the invalids. So the valid test cases these are snippets of code that the rule should not complain about. The errors or invalid cases are snippets that the rule should complain about, potentially with output from an autofixer. So like if we do type t equals operator and 1, we just end up with 1. And for those who are getting mad about, oh, look at that formatting there. Yes, we only verify that formatting for inputs is good. We don't care about formatting for outputs. You should use prettier. That's not our responsibility. Woo, have fun. See you next time. Thanks for coming in. I'll try to make it to yours actually. Let me put my let me put a hold. I've got stuff booked off for the next 4 hours, and 2/3 of that is just get work done on these things. So great. Bye. All right, true and true. So we're comparing like literals, any's, string stuff, fancy identifiers, arrays. I'm trying to think, what are the edge cases here? Like, are there... Yeah, there are really not that many cases we can detect because the types have to be the same. This looks great. Yeah, I like this. Oh, and then we check. Nice. 1 unit test each. Ignore units and errors. Yeah, that's fine. All right. This is looking really great. Nice work. Clap. Just requesting changes on performance, tuning, more clear the tests, more explicit, less non-generated tests, and some small touch-ups. Awesome. Looking forward to this getting shipped. All right. Took me an hour and I reviewed a single PR. Pingus. Yeah. And let's add that. Now we have status. Waiting response. Awesome. I agree with Armando, like the other reviewer. This is great stuff. Cool. All right. Oh man, I might not have enough time to do my next thing. I got to go at noon my time in 26 minutes for a virtual coffee chat. But, by the way, if anyone wants to bring stuff up, please let me know. I'm always happy to chat. The next thing I wanted to work on is my own TypeScript PR. Let me post that around. Next up, hopefully finishing a draft PR I have up against TypeScript itself. Just one little edge case in tuple management. And I will explain that in a moment. Boop, boop, boop. All right, so here's a fun thing. In TypeScript, you can name elements in tuple types. Here's a tuple type. Type labeled tuple equals. And for those who aren't familiar, tuples in TypeScript are fixed size arrays. Let me actually see. Is there a... Here we go. Here's an example on the... Whoa. Copy link address. Example on the TypeScript playground of tuples. There is... That's not the code snippet I wanted. There we go. So you can read that if you want. Basically, it's saying anything of type labeled tuple is an array, or at least has the elements 0 and 1, where the first one is a string and the second is a number. And optionally, you can label them. Like, you don't have to. You could just say my tuple equals string, comma, number. That's fine too. And let's call this unlabeled. And then if you try to mix them, mixed label tuple, like if you just do like first is string and then the second is anonymous, you get this unhappy little complaint in TypeScript. Tuple members must all have names or not have names. They added rest tuples, I want to say. No. So you can mix and match tuples. That's allowed. Mix and match. Like string, unlabeled, tuple, comma, number. But I guess you can't do... Oh, right, pizzazz. Yeah, there we go. You're right. They did add dynamically sized tuples. Good stuff. Yeah. Very, very snazzy, these tuples. So you can't mix and match labels. Let's call this one rest tuple. So you can't do like first is string with the name first, and then you have just number and anonymous number. I'll post this in the chat. Sorry for the large link. So that's unfortunate. But there was an issue filed labeled variadic tuples should not require labeling spreads of tuples that are already labeled, saying, you know, in this edge case, I'd love to get around that restriction. And then the TypeScript team, I should have heard that, YOLO'd and said, let's just remove the restriction altogether. And there was some dependent issue, which I won't go into now because it's not relevant. And now that that issue is resolved, yes. The difficulty is generating DTS files now is slightly more complex. Or rather, generally, printing out the type of a tuple is a little more complex. So this is a PR that I almost have ready, allowing tuples to have both named and anonymous members. Really excited about it. And the gist is that, well, two parts. One, I removed the diagnostic messages when looking at a tuple in the checker, so previously it looked, let me back up actually, and let me caveat saying this is more deep stuff than we were looking at before. Previously we were looking at linting code that uses an AST. This is code that creates the AST, or rather performs type checking on the AST. So sorry if you're not a big internals to TypeScript developer. I have a series of blog posts on my blog about this. Actually, Andrew Branch, TypeScript debugging. There's a really good blog post from a member of the TypeScript team, ATCB. So apologies if this is all just gobbledygook. But anyway, when checking a tuple, TypeScript previously would first check, are any of the types named? And if so, if we ever find an unnamed type, then we complain about it. So I removed that. That was part one, removing that diagnostic message. But then we have a complexity of, well, in the tuple type, now labeled element declarations, which previously was always named tuple member or parameter declaration, that's no longer accurate, because if you do have labeled element declarations, they some of them might not be labeled. So I could either make it so this is just element declarations and every element is in there. TypeScript tea time. I'm good. I'm working on TypeScript, so that makes me happy. How are you doing? How's your Thursday going? Is O/ a wave? Is that like an emoticon thing? I love it if so. So yeah, one option would be to change this to element declarations and have all of them in there. Another is just to slightly less breaking change it. Instead of renaming it, also just change the type to all the labeled things and then undefined to indicate something that's not. I kind of like element declarations more, but that's more work. And I don't know the TypeScript context, like what the team cares about well enough to know like which one to prefer. So just smallest one, easier to review for now. Anyway, there's one issue here. I'm gonna pop open the TypeScript code base. The one issue here of, oh man, lost my terminal history. Okay, hereby run tests. Hereby is like their gulp equivalent. Async function contextually typed returns, where I've got these changes all working, except in the baseline tests, the ones that make sure TypeScript prints out the displays that it's supposed to with the correct type messages and type errors, we have this weird thing where if you have this line of code, a function, f parentheses, takes in an async function that returns a turn area of, if v exists, 0, otherwise promise reject. So like this weird random edge case. Then the type of f is, or rather the type of f's first parameter is an async function that returns either v-boolean, or either promise reject or v-boolean. I did not say that correctly. Somewhere in my explanation there was a typo, but the TLDR is that we end up getting this weird display here where we're printing out promise of 0 or 0. Ooh, you're working in TypeScript in your project. Everything is JS. JavaScript to TypeScript. What a fun migration time. Good luck with that. How's that going? I've migrated a few code bases from JavaScript to TypeScript, and it's always fun. You like learn about the code and about TypeScript, and then you also find bugs in the code base. So that's unfortunate. Never seen a migration of more than a few files that didn't find some real bugs. Yeah. All right. So this might get a little hairy. Sorry, y'all in advance. But I'm pretty sure the place that I messed up is, where is it? Here. So when we get tuple target type, so the way TypeScript actually works on labeling tuples, when it generates that string name of the tuple, or rather when it generates the type for the tuple, is it generates a key, like a string key, and caches that in this tuple types cache. And we can see here there are a whole bunch of caches for different like weird types in TypeScript. Ooh, it's getting there. It just started. So I'm like bouncing between like internal TypeScript type caching and like, ooh, switching to TypeScript. I love this. Codecademy converting to TypeScript. Great question. What's the best strategy for us to tackle this? I wrote a 3-part blog post answering that question. So first, I would recommend like culture things on the team to like figure out who your champions are and like your area experts and cheerleaders and building up hype and learning TypeScript. But then also the like technical one, which I'm guessing what your noise, nice. One of the other maintainers, Brad, always says noise, or sometimes says noise. Once in a while, actually, not very often. Anyway, yeah, so the technical changes are find your leaf nodes, meaning the files that don't import other files. Convert those first, and then keep working towards your like really core ones. Like, my advice is to never convert a file that imports a JavaScript file, only convert files that either have no imports or only import TypeScript files. 2 people. Well, that makes that easier. Yeah. So, oh yeah, we got a cake. That was a good time. Cool. So yeah, TypeScript type checking, tuple types. So it's cached based on the the member IDs. Whoa. So if the element is... Okay, so we map over the flags if it's like required or optional something to add like little modifiers to the cache key, like a question mark or a pound. Then we add R if it's read-only. Then, wait, where does this parentheses go to? Okay, right here. Oh, nice. The biz expert. Cool. And then we also, if there are member IDs, which can be 0 or member undefined or undefined, then we also add those together. Oh my God, wait, look at this type. I might not even have to debug here, which is like even more hairy. It's 0 or number undefined, array, or undefined. Oh my God, what if the node ID is 0? Then, wait a second. Get node ID, which returns number. Oh man. Oh wait, no. If member declarations.length is 0, then we map. Okay, cool. Yeah. So then if there's previously a type under that key, we return that. Otherwise, we set the type to creating a new tuple target type under that key. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna console log. Why am I console logging? I can debug. So let's look at this test case. Async function contextually type return. I have to zoom out, apologies. And we can comment out all this stuff, because all I care about is, without formatting, this thing. So let's make a log point. Log message that logs key is key. And hereby run test -- inspect and attach to node process. Let's see if this goes. And I'm just also going to put a breakpoint here just to make sure that my code gets hit. Come on. So the breakpoints have loaded, which we can see. Yay! And we log key as plus key. So that's nice. That's not what I wanted. Can I just log key then? Key, key, key. How do you... JSON stringify key? How do you log it? Oh. So that's, well, Close enough. I'm getting it logged. All right. Where's the... This never actually takes in the node itself. So that's cool. So I'm seeing a lot of pounds. Oops. Now what was I complaining about? New baseline created. I didn't change anything. Oh, right. I did because I commented out stuff. Hereby baseline accept or accept the new baselines which are changed because I commented out a bunch of stuff. Okay. So in the debug console, we see that the key is either pound, comma, or pound. All right. So I think the problem here is probably something to do with the fact that each... Yeah, so when you have anonymous tuple members, like 0, the literal, it's not named. It's not like first is 0. Here we're using 0 as the literal type 0, not the value 0. Oops. Save without formatting. They're getting put as undefined. Like there's no node there. So because we're only checking if there's a length there. But you know what? I'm betting named member declarations. If it's an array that just has undefined in it, then we do still look for the member IDs. Aha! So we do sum this member declarations is there like an is defined? Is null or undefined? Can we do none? Every? So if everything is... Yeah, I'm just going to x, bang, bang, x. Does this not work? Oh, it does. Okay. Save without formatting. Run tests. Hereby baseline accept. So in theory, I've changed this so now the type should no longer say 0 or 0. If I'm right, it will say just 0. Tuple size 1 containing 0. Yes. Oh my God. What a good feeling. I was so worried I'd have to do literally anything more than that. All right. So to recap, I could change this named member declarations array from always containing nodes to containing some nodes, potentially some undefineds. And so the previous logic of checking, does it have a length at all? Does it have anything in it? To know whether we should use it was no longer true because of my change. It's now, is there anything in existence in this array? Let's call this D. So that's good. A couple cleanups here. So I'm just gonna undo all the changes that I did to this and then run test again to fix. The second thing is there anywhere that uses sum and like checks if it exists? I'm just looking for like sum something comma like is truthy or is defined, or does anyone know if the TypeScript code base has like an is truthy? Is truthy, is defined. Not in the source test runner directory or whatnot. Include all TS file. So we have it. Nope, that's... We also don't want the tests folder. Function is defined. So this is defined in the call hierarchy. This is in services, which is like a separate area of code. Do I move this to core? Is there a core file for each? How I feel like this is such like a small errata. Like, how does TypeScript, like, what is the right way using all the like helpers and stuff that they have looked at internally? Like, is there a find index, find map, contains, equality operator? Filter mutant. Man, they have so many little helpers here. Okay. Let's just, I'm going to move this is defined to, where are the like little helpers? Length is no length. Trims. Okay, so we have some like string shenanigans. Yeah, let's just internal. Export function is defined. Cool. Ooh. One thing I'll be making heavy use of is tscheck and types in JS docs. Awesome. Good luck with that. Please let me know how that goes. I hope it goes well. Is defined. So save without formatting here. So core, by the way, source compiler core TS. I think this is a place where I can like put like helper utilities like that. Where is defined used in this code base? Update import. Yeah, so there's already oh yeah. TypeScript has large files, so they have a lot of imports in a lot of files. Save that formatting, and then checker, where I was playing with before, sum is defined. Save that formatting. Hereby run tests. In TypeScript, the run test command, which, as you might imagine, runs tests, also builds, and that's what I'm using here out of convenience. Cool. Please build. Yay, it built. Awesome. Hereby run tests. I'm now going to have it run all the tests, which might make my OBS freeze up and mess with the Twitch stream. So we'll see how that works. Anyway, I'm going to be leaving in 3-4 minutes to make lunch, and let's say 2-3 minutes to make myself a lunch, then go to something else. So this was really fun. Thank you everyone for joining me. I hope this was in some way comprehensible and or useful to you. Was comprehensible, not in. If anyone has any last questions they want to ask me or things to talk about or bring up, please let me know. Also, let me know who I should raid, because yeah, I was seeking to find new people on Twitch. I don't actually really use this platform much on my own. Yeah. Thank you. It's always good to see you in the chat. I appreciate you saying that. Tea time. Get status. Yeah, get add all, get commit fix. It's any member being defined, not the array. Finite singularity. Oh, I like finite singularity. I actually haven't even looked at the array channel. So yeah, ooh, look at this. All my conformance tests are running well. So this is just a bunch of TypeScript tests running. So once this blue thing finishes, I think it'll be like one more large area of tests. Yeah, compiler tests. Yeah, so I'll push off stream. I want to go make myself a sandwich. All right, yeah, let's go raid finite singularity. Ooh, they got a black hole there. What's going on? This has been lovely. Thank you very much, everyone, and hope to see you next time, probably Tuesday. Bye. Where's my OBS? Doop, boop.